In 2009, NASA lost a tool bag in space. For 3 weeks, people on Earth could actually see this thing floating through our atmosphere. People even took pictures and videos of it. But no one knew what it was at first. Some people thought it was a Chinese lantern. Others thought it was a weather balloon. But really, it was just a bag. A very expensive bag. On April 2009, the Space Shuttle Endeavour lifted off from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. This was the 13th and final flight of the Endeavour. And like any good space mission, the astronauts on board had a checklist. Things to do in case of an emergency, you know, like a fire or a flood, or a giant zero-gravity bag of tools floating out an airlock and into space. Wait, what? It happened when the crew was preparing for an experiment. They opened the cargo bay doors to expose the equipment inside to the vacuum of space. That's when a bag of tools somehow floated out of the shuttle and into orbit. The next day, flight controllers realized what had happened. They should have noticed the previous day, but they were busy making repairs to a torn solar wing. You know how sometimes when you're fixing one thing, you break another? Yeah, it's kind of like that. The bag was full of equipment for an experiment that was supposed to take place on the International Space Station. It would have been easy to just leave it in orbit and hope it burned up in the atmosphere. But NASA wanted to be able to recover the bag for future study, so they did something crazy. They sent out a robotic space plane called the X-33, which retrieved the bag and brought it back to Earth. The whole thing was a wild ride that NASA documented in real time, but it wasn't over yet, because now they had to figure out where the bag was going to land. The X-33 dropped the bag off in a remote area of the Pacific Ocean, where it remained for days. NASA worked with the US Navy to locate it using sonar, but the ocean was so choppy that recovering the bag was almost impossible. The waves kept shifting where it landed, making it hard for the Navy to get close enough to grab it. But eventually they did. They pulled the bag out of the water and got it back to NASA. The whole ordeal made headlines around the world, and the bag itself became an official piece of space debris with its own name, Candolia. And if you look closely at the picture of it, you can see that it's covered with reflective material. That's why people on Earth were able to see it floating in the sky. It was like a giant disco ball made of Velcro and wrenches. At the end of the day, NASA ended up spending about $400,000 to recover this bag. But hey, at least they got it back, right? Right? Well, don't be so sure. See, that's the thing about space. There's no gravity, so anything can happen. Like a wrench thrown carelessly into the void, never coming back. Thanks for watching. If you want to learn more about space, check out our channel. There's a link in the description below. And if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button.